I think it's pretty clear at this point that in order for Democrats and just people who are not fascist like the MAGA movement to make some real noise, they have to be willing to seem more personable. And this is a good example of that. His name is James Tallarico, who went on Joe Rogan. Now, he got famous from this speech he had regarding putting the Ten Commandments in classrooms.
I love the Ten Commandments. I've tried to build my life on the Ten Commandments. But what does it mean to truly live out those Ten Commandments? The Apostle Paul wrote in Romans 13, the commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and whatever other command there may be, are summed up in this one command. Love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Therefore, love is the fulfillment of the law. The Hindu student who sits in a classroom is our neighbor. The Buddhist student who sits in a classroom is our neighbor. The Sikh student who sits in a classroom is our neighbor. The atheist student who sits in a classroom is our neighbor. And we are called to love them as ourselves. But if this bill passes, we're going to put a poster on the wall of that classroom that says, "Thou shalt not worship any god before me." We're putting up a poster that says their religion is inferior. We're putting up a poster that says their faith is not welcome here. It's hard to be different as a kid. I bet each of you remembers a time that you felt left out, a time when you didn't fit in. We've all experienced that. It's the loneliest feeling in the world. It's why so many of Jesus' teachings are about outsiders and outcasts, neighbors who don't fit in. Forcing our religion onto Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, and atheist students is not love. Forcing teachers to put up a poster in their classrooms against their wills is not love. Love does no harm to a neighbor. Love is the fulfillment of the law. I'm voting no on this bill, not despite my faith, but because of it. I'm voting no on this bill out of love for the Ten Commandments, out of love for the Constitution, and out of love for our neighbors. And I humbly ask you to do the same.
That was powerful. That's what he got famous from. And I used to be Christian. I grew up Christian, better yet. It's really hard to claim a religion while you're young. Um, and it dawns on me when I look at all these people on the Republican side, on the right wing side, who claim to be Christian and just do some of the weirdest stuff. They claim to be Christian and they just use Christianity to gain more power. They basically do exactly the opposite of what Jesus' teachings is. And although I'm not religious, one thing that I will always respect is Jesus' teachings. Because I think they're genuinely good. I just do. I think they're good. But I just don't see MAGA. I don't see the right ever kind of following them, to be honest. They're hateful. They're angry. Fuck. Some people think Donald Trump is the second coming of Jesus Christ himself. It's disgusting. This guy went on Joe Rogan's podcast. I want to watch some clips regarding that. So let's start off with this one.
And much more as top versus bottom. I think of politics now less as left versus right and much more as top versus bottom.
Yeah.
Because
You're right.
I just see how we are all pitted against each other.
Mhm.
And I mean literally.
Sure.
These social media platforms, they only get clicks when there's conflict.
Mhm.
Right? They don't get clicks when we're having a conversation, when we're understanding each other.
Facts.
That doesn't get anybody any profit.
Right.
And so
It's funny. I mean, my content's the perfect example of it. Um, the ones that have controversy get views. Well, me talking about a political solution with a guest, nothing, no views. People just want controversy. They just want yelling. They just want anger. They just want emotion. In a lot of times, people don't want to hear the things that are in the best interest of everybody. They pretend like they care, but they don't. Sometimes it is a problem. But also you gotta make them care, and that's what people like me, people like James, Joe Rogan has already kind of done it. We gotta we gotta make them care. That's that's important. That's what's
the
important
Rupert
here.
Murdochs of the world, the cable news networks, the social media platforms, the Zuckerbergs and Musks, these platforms are literally tearing us apart.
You're onto something. I think what you're saying is absolutely true, though, that it's not us versus them. It's the top versus the bottom.
And I don't know if everyone is fully awake to that we're getting played.
I don't think people are, and I think you saying it is very important.
If we recognize that we have far more in common,
I 100% agree to this too, because one of my 5 most important political issues is wealth inequality, the elites in America. Well, we just keep on ignoring it. We just don't focus on it. And now we're just handing them power. We're handing Donald Trump the billionaire power. We're handing Elon Musk the power. We're handing Peter Thiel the power. We're handing Mark Zuckerberg the power. They're getting even richer with all this investments they've been making, especially regarding AI. They're just going to get more powerful, more money in their pockets. But everybody wants to blame everything else. Immigrants are the ruin in America, while the 1% continuously gets more rich. It's insane.
then the stuff that divides us, then that's a threat to their power. It's a threat to their wealth. That unity, that loving your enemy is not just morally good. It's not just idealistic. It is good strategic advice.
That's part of the problem, is that the people that are in power want to stay in power, and the best way to stay in power is to enrich the other people around you that are like you, and create laws and create a structure that allows you to maintain ridiculous wealth.
Yep.
And suppress competition
and divide everyone to keep them distracted. This is my personal, like, what happens if we actually loved our enemies, if we rebuilt these relationships? Like, who could we take on if we did it together? Democrats and Republicans, conservatives and progressives.
Hey man, I like the hopeful point. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I am not trying to pretend to be a good person. I'm kind of done with that. But I will do anything within my ability to ensure good people like James, they're the future. I'll burn the path for you. That's my role in all of this. Well, that's what I believe my role is. There's more clips I want to show you guys.
Disillusioned. I guess all I'm pushing back on is that second step. There is reason and good reasons to be disillusioned. I guess all I'm pushing back on is that second step of it's always going to be this way.
Right. It doesn't have to be this way.
That is the key step.
Right.
So I'm
That's
not
because you need to run for president. Yeah. We need someone who's actually a good person.
Well,
because the Democrats have very few candidates that are.
Can I actually push back on that?
Please.
Because we were talking about how politics has become a religion. This is one of the ways it does, is people put all their faith in a politician.
No, but I'm not saying that.
I've seen it with Bernie.
Yeah.
People, and I like Bernie a whole lot, but some people treat him as if he's a messianic figure.
Well, because
he's Trump on the right, people treat him as a messiah in some ways. Like, Bernie's, this is a problem.
One of the only ones that's been remarkably consistent in his entire career.
I know.
And so,
but he's still a flawed human being, right? I mean, just like we all are.
Rare.
I respect what James is saying. The point is recognizing that one man is not going to fix all our problems. One man never will. It's supposed to be the people. that fix their own problems. These figures are supposed to be in behest of the people. You know how we do better is we start from the ground up, like care more about your community, care more about your city, care more about your county, care more about your state. It's supposed to be, in terms of level of importance and severity, it's supposed to be in your home, and then the last thing on your mind should be what's up there, the federal government. But we think the federal government is the ones that solves all the issues, and it's not. It never was. And now, because we think that that president should be a king to solve all our issues. America wasn't built like that. And that's what people need to understand. And because they think that the billionaire who's had some of the weirdest and cringiest controversies, who's friends with Epstein, said he wanted to fuck his own daughter, who cheats on his wife, that has scammed millions of people, that has treated people like garbage, that has been given money, that's the guy that's going to save our country? Give me a break. Give me a break. Oh, not my headset. It has low battery. All right, let's get through these clips.
So rare.
I know,
and
but my
think
point
that
is,
should be praised.
But instead of like the change is going to come from your listeners,
Yes.
not from me, right? I can be a part of that, but I mean, if there's any hope I can give people, it's that the people in power, including the billionaire mega donors who basically run this whole thing, and I can get more into that if you want.
Please do.
But they are very afraid of the power that the people have. That I know for sure.
He's cooking. He is cooking. One more clip.
She.
Why are you a Democrat?
Well, my mother. So I told you I was born to a single mom. She was a preacher's daughter from Laredo, down on the border. She left home at 19. She moved up to Austin. She met my birth father, who was a high school dropout and had a drinking problem. And that drinking problem sometimes led to being violent with my mother. And there was one night, it was me and mom and my birth father, and he had too much drink and got violent again. And that was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And my mom decided right then and there that she was leaving. So she packed all our stuff. She put me in her little Ford Escort. She drove me to the hotel where she worked downtown. The manager let us stay in one of the rooms.
This sounds like a movie I've
until we
watched.
found a little apartment in East Austin. And mom, she took on double duty at the hotel. She fought for me at every instance, even when it was her own physical safety was at risk. And back then, this was early 90s, she could look over at the Texas Capitol and she saw Texas Democrats like Ann Richards, Bob Bullock, people who fought for the little guy, for working people who were forgotten and left behind. That was the classic Democratic Party.
Right.
And so I remember when I guess I was maybe kindergarten, and someone in school, they were talking about political parties, and I asked my mom what we were, and she was like, "We're Democrats because Democrats fight for the people." That was what she said. My mom is still a Democrat today, but I don't know how much our party is still true to that.
I'm not a Democrat, but that was powerful.
But I do know that that's our historical legacy, is the party that fights for the little guy. And I think we're at our best when we do that today. We're at our worst when we stray from that.
I would agree with that.
So I still believe the Democratic Party can get back to those roots. I hope last year was a wake-up call, especially to the National Democratic Party, about what needs to change and how we need to be different if we're going to build a big coalition to take on the issues that we care about. But that's why I'm a Democrat and why I hope the party can get back to those roots.
This is interesting. The Democrats have some interesting figures moving forward. Him, Pete Buttigieg. Um, AOC, Gavin Newsom. I just like. I hope they come together. Honestly, at this point, it's not about necessarily winning. It's just getting MAGA out. That should be the goal. Like they are destroying our country. If we want to save the country, we have to work together. We just do. So, you know, we'll see. We will see. Shout out James, man. Joe Rogan said he should run for president.
Why are you a Democrat?
Yo, and people were pissed that Joe Rogan did this interview, by the way. People were angry. Joe Rogan, they were angry.